Australia is at a turning point, and if you've been following immigration updates closely, you already know things are heating up fast. Right now, one of the biggest concerns making headlines and shaking the migration community is the skilled migration program. For years, this pathway has been the lifeline for thousands of workers, families, and even businesses that rely on international talent to keep industries running smoothly. But today, that lifeline is under serious pressure and the warning signs are impossible to ignore. Why? Because the very planning levels that guide skilled migration intake are missing, leaving applicants, employers, and even government agencies in a state of uncertainty. Think about it: if you're a skilled worker overseas, ready to contribute to Australia's economy, how can you plan your future when the government hasn't clearly set the intake numbers? If you're an employer desperately trying to fill skill shortages in critical industries like healthcare, construction, or technology, how do you recruit when the system itself doesn't give you the clarity you need? This isn't just an administrative hiccup. It's becoming a full-blown crisis that could affect thousands of lives. Students graduating from Australian universities are wondering if they'll have a pathway to stay. Families waiting to reunite are facing delays. Employers who have counted on overseas talent are left scrambling. And the longer this uncertainty drags on, the worse the impact will be on Australia's workforce and economy. So, what's really happening behind the scenes? Why has the government not laid out the planning levels yet? And most importantly, what does this mean for you if you're already in Australia on a temporary visa, or if you're waiting offshore with hopes pinned on skilled migration? Stay with me, because in this video, I'm going to break down the crisis in plain, simple language. By the end, you'll understand what's at stake, what might happen next, and why every skilled worker, student, and family should be paying close attention. Australia's immigration system has always been seen as one of the most carefully managed and structured in the world, built on the idea that if you plan properly, you can bring in the right skills at the right time to meet the needs of a growing economy. But right now, that system is showing signs of deep cracks. The skilled migration program, which has long been the backbone of Australia's ability to fill labour shortages and attract international talent, is in serious trouble. And the reason is simple yet alarming: there are no clear planning levels in place. This might sound like a bureaucratic detail, but it's much bigger than that. Without those planning levels, everything grinds to a halt. Employers can't forecast recruitment, skilled workers can't prepare applications, families can't plan reunions, and the economy suffers in silence. When we talk about planning levels, we're referring to the targets and quotas that the Australian government sets each year to decide how many skilled migrants will be accepted, in which categories, and across which industries. These levels are crucial because they give everyone from visa applicants to major corporations a roadmap for what's possible. Imagine trying to drive across the country with no road signs, no directions, and no GPS. That's what the skilled migration system feels like right now. The absence of these levels is leaving people stranded in uncertainty. And uncertainty, in the world of immigration, is devastating. For skilled workers overseas, the dream of moving to Australia often takes years of preparation. They study hard, build up professional experience, sit English language tests, and save money for application fees. Many even plan their children's schooling around the hope that one day they'll be able to settle permanently in Australia. But without clear migration planning, those dreams are now on shaky ground. People don't know whether their occupation will even be accepted, how many spots will be available, or when they can realistically apply. It's like being asked to train for a marathon but never being told when the race is happening or if it will happen at all. The impact is just as severe for those already in Australia on temporary visas. International students, for example, are graduating in record numbers. Many of them have invested not only years of study but also tens of thousands of dollars in tuition fees. For them, the skilled migration pathway is supposed to be the bridge between student life and permanent residency. But when planning levels are absent, that bridge starts to crumble. Instead of clarity, they face endless uncertainty about whether they can stay or will be forced to leave once their visas expire. That uncertainty doesn't just affect students, it affects universities, local communities, and even the industries that rely on their skills. Employers are also caught in the middle of this crisis. In industries like healthcare, construction, aged care, and engineering, skill shortages are not just a minor inconvenience, they are urgent and pressing. Hospitals need more nurses, construction firms need more tradespeople, tech companies need more specialists. And aged care facilities are struggling desperately to recruit staff to meet the demands of an aging population. Skilled migration has always been the solution to these shortages. But when there are no planning levels, employers are left in limbo. They don't know if they can recruit, how many skilled workers they can sponsor, or whether the system will deliver the talent they desperately need. For small businesses, this is particularly crippling. Many don't have the luxury of waiting months or years for the government to provide clarity. They need workers now, and without them, their survival is at risk. It's not just individuals and employers who are feeling the pressure. The Australian economy as a whole is at risk. Skilled migration isn't just about filling jobs, it's about driving growth. Migrants contribute billions of dollars each year in taxes, consumer spending, and business activity. They help create jobs, stimulate innovation, and strengthen industries. When skilled migration stalls, the ripple effect spreads far and wide. Fewer migrants mean less spending in local communities, fewer houses being built, fewer businesses expanding, and ultimately slower economic growth. In a country that relies heavily on immigration to keep the economy strong, this is a crisis with nationwide consequences. So, why are the planning levels missing? That's the question everyone is asking. Some point to political debates within government, where immigration has become a sensitive and divisive issue. Others suggest that the bureaucracy is struggling to keep up with the rapidly changing needs of the labour market. Still others believe that the government is deliberately delaying decisions in order to avoid controversy. Whatever the reason, the result is the same: paralysis in the system and anxiety for thousands of people whose futures hang in the balance. The consequences of inaction are not theoretical, they are real and immediate. Take the example of a hospital that can't hire enough nurses because the skilled migration intake for healthcare isn't clearly defined. Patients wait longer for treatment, doctors are stretched to breaking point, and the quality of care declines. Or consider the construction industry, already struggling with housing shortages. Without skilled tradespeople coming in through migration, projects are delayed, costs rise, and the dream of affordable housing slips even further away. These are not distant possibilities, they are happening right now in towns and cities across Australia. International students, too, are feeling the weight of this uncertainty. Many have been in Australia for years, studying, working part-time, and building lives here. They contribute massively to the economy, not just through tuition but through rent, food, transport, and retail spending. But when they graduate, they find themselves facing a cliff edge. Will there be a skilled migration pathway for them? Or will they be forced to pack up and leave, taking their skills and contributions with them? For many, the lack of planning levels feels like a betrayal. They were promised that Australia values talent and commitment, but now they're being left in the dark. Families are also caught up in this crisis. Many skilled migrants hope to bring their spouses, children, or parents to join them in Australia. But without clear planning levels, family reunification becomes another casualty. Parents wait years to see their children. Spouses are separated. Children grow up without one of their parents present. Immigration is not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about human lives and relationships. And when planning fails, families suffer. Adding to the urgency is the fact that Australia is competing globally for talent. Countries like Canada, the UK, and New Zealand are actively promoting their skilled migration programs, offering clear pathways and attractive incentives. Skilled workers who might have once chosen Australia are now looking elsewhere. They don't want to wait in limbo when other countries are rolling out the welcome mat. If Australia doesn't act soon, it risks losing out on the best and brightest to competitors who are more decisive and more organised. Let's not forget the political dimension. Immigration has always been a hot topic in Australian politics, with debates about numbers, impacts, and priorities. But while politicians argue, real people's lives are left in suspension. Skilled migration planning should not be held hostage to politics. It should be based on the needs of the economy, the realities of the labour market, and the humanitarian principle that families should not be kept apart. Delays and indecision only make the problem worse, fueling public frustration and undermining trust in the system. If nothing changes soon, the crisis will deepen. Employers will struggle more, industries will slow down, and the economy will take a hit. Skilled workers will give up on Australia and choose other countries. Families will face longer separations. Students will feel betrayed and disillusioned. The government will face growing criticism for failing to provide leadership. And everyday Australians will feel the consequences in longer hospital waits, higher housing costs, and slower economic growth. The cost of inaction is too high to ignore. So what can be done? First and foremost, the government needs to release clear planning levels immediately. This is the foundation on which everything else depends. Skilled workers need to know where they stand. Employers need to know what's possible. Families need to know what to expect. Once planning levels are set, the system can start moving again. But beyond that, there also needs to be a commitment to transparency and communication. People should not have to live in constant uncertainty, waiting for decisions that never come. Regular updates, clear guidelines, and realistic timelines would go a long way to restoring confidence in the system. At the same time, there needs to be a recognition that skilled migration is not just about numbers, it's about strategy. Australia should be identifying the industries where shortages are most severe and prioritising those areas. Healthcare, aged care, construction, and technology are crying out for workers. By targeting skilled migration to these industries, the government can not only fill urgent gaps but also drive long-term growth and stability. There also needs to be more support for international students who want to transition to permanent residency. These are people who have already invested in Australia, studied here, worked here, and built lives here. They are the perfect candidates for skilled migration because they already have the skills, the local experience, and the commitment to stay. Giving them clear and accessible pathways would benefit not just the students but the entire country. And finally, there needs to be an honest conversation about the role of immigration in Australia's future. This is not just about filling jobs, it's about shaping society. Migrants bring diversity, innovation, and resilience. They help Australia remain competitive in a fast-changing world. They contribute not only economically but culturally and socially. Without skilled migration, Australia risks stagnation. Australia can thrive. As we look ahead, one thing is clear: the skilled migration crisis is not going away on its own. It requires leadership, clarity, and action. The absence of planning levels has created a dangerous vacuum, but it is a problem that can be solved. The question is whether the government has the courage to act before the damage becomes irreversible. And that's why you, as a viewer, should care deeply about this issue. Whether you're a skilled worker overseas, a student in Australia, an employer searching for talent, or simply an Australian concerned about the future of the economy, this crisis affects you. The time for silence and delay is over. It's time for answers, and it's time for action. So, if you want to stay informed about every twist and turn in Australia's immigration landscape, make sure you don't miss out.